Are you thinking about starting a side hustle, but you don't want to quit your full time job? Well, then you need to tune in to today's episode as I interview Tanya Smith all about how she created her side hustle, Get Noticed with Video, while still maintaining her full time job and spending time with her family. We'll talk about how she does it and her best tips. Hello, dreamers. Welcome to the Late Starters Club, giving you the inspiration, mindset, and tools you need to start something midlife and beyond. Remember, it's never too late to follow your dreams. Hello, dreamers. It's your host, Andrea Vall, and I am so excited today to be joined by the amazing, the wonderful Tanya Smith. I've known Tanya for a while, and she came onto my radar when she started with our social media manager school program. That was the first time I really connected with you. Isn't that right? I've followed her journey over the years, and I've just loved what she's doing with video and live video. It's amazing. And she has created a whole business around this called Get Noticed with Video, right?
Yep,
GetNoticedWithVideo.com.
yep,
And you've started this as a continual side hustle along
mhm,
with your full-time corporate job that you've had for 30 plus years, which is ridiculous
yes.
because you are only about 35. So
Yeah, of course.
oh, welcome to the show, Tanya. I'm so excited.
I'm excited to be here, and I can't believe it has been a very long time since we've
I
known each
know.
other,
I
and
know.
I've attended a lot of your different courses and programs, and it feels like you've always been a part of my space somehow. It's
It's
a
so
pleasure.
awesome. So great. I'm excited to bring you into this space because when did you start this video journey, start doing this a little bit more? How did that come about and what led you into starting this side hustle?
Goodness, so I've been side hustling for over a decade, so since probably 2007, 2008, for a
Mhm.
long time, I've been side hustling, but I was doing so many different things, Andrea, and I could not find the thing that was my happy spot. It wasn't until I had to make a decision. I was in this mindset of, look, let me just be normal and just work full time and retire and do, all the normal things and not try to keep doing this because my social media reach, my organic reach was dropping. It was
Mm.
ridiculous. Like I could not get attention. Whereas before, I was able to send out a simple tweet and fill up seats within 48 hours for a class or a summit. It had gotten to the point to where I was just hustling and putting out content, content, content. And I thought it was quality content, but it was
Mhm.
never getting seen. And I made a decision to do something dramatic. and, and video happened to be that dramatic thing. So it's only really been a few years now, maybe I'm in my 3rd year of really, really honing in on
Mm.
video because what I made a commitment to do is to just try live video. Let me try live streaming because I keep hearing that all the social profiles and feeds are saying, give us video, give us video.
Mhm.
And if I were to do that, I thought I need to make a commitment of a year to see,
Wow.
is this going to work? And if after this year, doing a live stream every week does not do a thing for me or for my business or impact anyone, I'm out. Like I'm completely out of business, period. I will not do digital marketing. I will not talk about it. I won't even be on social media. This is what I was telling myself. And I can tell you within a few months, it was clear to me that live streaming was becoming the tool. It was the
Yeah.
key to me being able to be seen, to get my content out there, to serve and reach more people.
Yeah. Yeah.
And when that happened, it was light bulb moment. Like I need to teach other people
Yeah.
who are willing to
Right.
get on camera because not everybody's willing.
No, I know. Yeah, and what I love about your story is that you're a self-proclaimed introvert.
Very
And you
much.
yeah, and you wouldn't think that you would go for video, because 'cause I'm an extrovert and I get scared about video sometimes.
Yep.
So tell us about what that was like in overcoming that fear to really just leaning into live video and video.
It was one of those things that I think at some point you realize I don't have all the time in the world to make things work. I
Mm,
just felt like that. I felt like I don't know what my time left on this earth even looks like. If I'm
right.
going to do something, I need to just go big or go home. And and video was big because I was the type of person who would put slides. I have a YouTube channel. It was really dead at the time. I wasn't doing much with it, but when I did do something with it, I would have PowerPoint slides and I would voice over. I was comfortable on audio. I even had an audio podcast called Snack Size Marketing. I was comfortable speaking, but I was not ready to just put my face out there and to have people judge and critique
Mhm.
and give the comments were going to be. I was worried about that.
Yeah.
But it was the go big or go home strategy. Do something really, really transformative and see if it works and let that be the guide. And I've always kind of been that person that either I'm going to try it and if it doesn't work, it doesn't work, or I'm just not going to commit to putting any more time and attention into it.
Mm.
So the introverted thing, yeah, I could be in a cave. I was good when the whole, situation happened where most people are at home. I was like, "Hey, this is my happy place. I don't have to be around people. That's great." But yeah, I found that more people were connecting with me and
Mm,
reaching out
mm,
because everybody was at home. Everybody
right,
was having to use Zoom and use
right.
video. And that's when really things started to pick up a lot.
Right, right, right,
Yeah.
and I mean, the thing is, the reality is video is only growing. It really is. It is not a choice anymore about using video or not using video. It is all going towards video with reels, and I'm just seeing so much more activity with these short videos that are getting so much more reach, and having a strategy and having some structure around what you're putting out there is key too, but you've gotta use video. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now, I wanna dive a little bit more into the fact that this is what has amazed me is that this has been a side hustle of yours, and you've got full-time job that you've had for a long time. You've got a family. Your kids are doing a lot of amazing things, the schools that they're choosing and the way you support them, and it seems to me like your family life is just so incredibly important to you. How have you had the structure and capacity to
Yeah.
have this side hustle?
That's an excellent question. I really believe that systems are a gift. I think that when you can put systems in place that work for you, it's like magic. It opens up doors. It makes you so much more effective. And so for me, I've always been a systems thinker. I've always been someone who thought, okay, how do I replicate myself? One. And then how can I do three things? One of three things. So these are my buckets that I do for everything. I choose for everything. Either I'm going to act on it, I'm going to automate it, or I'm going to assign it. It's
That's
one
awesome.
of three.
Yeah.
And that's really literally how I've been able to get so much done because I structure everything with boundaries. I put everything into a process document of
Mhm.
some kind so that even if I'm not doing it, if I'm assigning it to someone, they know and understand the process.
Yeah.
So I literally have actually this year, Andrea, I've focused on structuring the way that I live stream in such a way that I can teach a course, a program that I'm working on building out right now called From Live Stream to Leads.
Oh, nice.
And I'm teaching people the operating system for how I actually get my live streams done. And at the core of everything is the live stream itself, but then it spits out those other pieces that you talked about, the reels and the TikToks, the short video clips. And it leads people into a paid course, some type of masterclass or webinar, or
Mhm.
even my membership program. I think that there are ways that you can leverage what you love to do and turn that into other multiple facets that maybe somehow are going to make you money or they're going to attract people to you so that they feel the impact of the service that you're trying to offer. It's not always that my systems work, but I've done a lot of tweaking. Now they do.
Mhm.
But at
Yeah,
first, yeah, I was going through a lot of trial and error, which I think people will do until they find the spot that works for them. So
right.
just having the logical thought process of, okay, if I start here, what's my very next step?
Uh-huh.
And then what's the next step after that? And if you're repetitively doing the same thing over and over again to achieve the outcome, which for me is the live stream every week,
Yeah.
you can process that. You can turn that into a system that you can share with other people that will keep you safe. And I mean mentally safe, physically safe, all those things, which is important to me. And that will also honor the commitments that you have to other people in your life. Because you're right, my family is first. So everything that I do needs to be grounded and needs to be scheduled around their activities,
Mhm.
but also the activities of the corporate, the full time that I do for now. So
Right.
yeah, it's thinking through and creating some type of system. The way you do systems is the way you do everything. That's the way I feel.
Yeah. That kinda makes sense because my systems are a little bit of a mess.
But it works for you.
That's right. I'm getting better. Actually, it's funny, systems are one of my words. I usually choose 3 words every year. So systems and focus are one of my words this year to really concentrate on. I joke that my 3rd word is cash.
That's not a joke.
I know.
Good word.
Yeah, I had a lot of fun last year, this year, we're getting things dialed in. But I love the way you approach it just so logically and so systematically, and you seem like you're naturally that type of person, but I think probably because you have it as a side hustle, you've had to get super, super focused and clear about how things work and to minimize the time.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
Absolutely, and plus because when you're working a side hustle, you still need to respect the fact that you have that full time.
Right.
So I never want to create conflict between any of the parts, the roles that I play. I
Right.
try as best as possible to create those boundaries. So, for instance, initially when I first started, I was just taking any and every client. So,
Mhm.
anybody who said, "Hey, I wanna work with you," I was like, "Okay, cool. What do you wanna do? Like, what's that look like?" And I realized that that was not smart. If somebody is not really engaging in if they don't want to do video, I don't wanna have to pull them along.
Exactly.
If they
Exactly.
don't want to use technology, which you kinda have to do if you're gonna be doing video, either you have to do it or you have to have somebody who's, like, at your side all the time, working through all the different digital and technical aspects of video. If you don't want to even engage in, let's say, for instance, you don't wanna follow my calendaring system. "Hey, can you just call me right now? I'm available at this number." That's a sign to me that this is not gonna be a good client-coach
Mhm.
relationship. That's a sign that, you know what, this is probably not gonna be a good working relationship. So making choices around even the people that I work with has created more freedom. And to me, that's what systems has allowed me to do. It's allowed me to have those boundaries in place so that I respect every role that I've decided I want to take on. And it's given people, you train people how you want to be treated, right?
For
So
sure.
it's set expectations for people in terms of how we're going to work together. And I'm honest with folks that I think may not be the best fit. And I share with them resources that may be better for them.
And I like that. I love that idea that you just talked about was systems equal freedom. And I think people don't always equate that. They think that it's rigid or it feels too
Yeah.
forced or it feels like too difficult to write down all the steps, but it just pays off so much in the long run to have that system. And there's certain times where a team member is unavailable or whatever,
Yeah.
and you have to hand over what they do and to someone else or take it over yourself, and if you don't have that system in place, that's really hard to do.
I'm a solo person. I don't have a
Mhm,
team at this time.
Mhm.
I get a lot of work done, and the
Yeah.
reason why is because I put in the effort on the front end. I put in the
Yeah.
time on the front end to create the system and the process.
Right.
So now it's working for me. I'm not
Right.
working for the business is working for me because I've set those things up. So I think as business owners, we have to think about, okay, yeah, it may feel like it's rigid and it may feel like all these things on the front end, but on the back end, now you can go on vacation. Now you've set out spaces in your calendar and in
Right.
your that allow you to breathe,
Yeah.
where
Yeah.
if you don't have those things in place, you're constantly running, and that's not healthy.
Right. Great tips for sure. So you'd have had this corporate job for a long time. You are essentially 14 years ago or 15 years ago, exactly, just thinking, hey, I want a side hustle. What was the thing that started you down that path of let's add something to my plate?
Look, this is funny. I don't always share this story, but I'll share with you. I did not have an inclination to become self-employed or a business owner. That was not like my dream. My dream was the traditional dream of, hey, you go to school, you get your bachelor's, you get your master's degree, you get married, you have kids, you get a job that you stay
Mhm.
in for 50 years, you retire. That was what I thought life was supposed to be because it was such an opposite thing from what I grew up with. Grew
Mm.
up without a lot of roots and we were constantly moving. And so I wanted that, like, I wanted that traditional thing, that traditional
Right.
life. But when I moved to Dallas, this is what happened. I had someone approach me in the mall, and I had a stroller and I was moving my little baby who was only a few weeks old around. And my husband was still in Indiana. I was in Dallas because of the job, because of the
Mhm.
corporate job. I had been moved. He was in Indiana, and it was a time where he just could not seem to get a position here in Texas. It was just taking forever. It was right around 9/11.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
So things were just
It was
it
a,
was
yeah,
crazy,
mess. Yeah.
crazy. And I remember I was just going through the mall with this stroller, and I was thinking, man, if I could live a different life, I would. If I could choose something different, if I could actually live in the same house and city as my husband, that would be nice. I'm a new mom. I've got all these things. This woman approached me at the mall and she said, what would it be like if you had time freedom? What would it be like if you could map out the way you want to live and you could have, whatever you want? You could create the life you want. Well, what she was selling me on was makeup. I didn't know, I didn't get it at the time.
Right.
And I ended up going into business and I laughed at her at first, but
Yeah.
a couple of days later I called her back
Yeah.
because something just was lit up in
Yep.
me about
Yep.
this idea that if I could just have my own thing, if I could create whatever I wanted, if I could have a backup plan in case
Yeah.
things don't work out.
Right.
And that seed morphed over years into me coaching and working with other people because I saw the power of women supporting women, first of all, but then I also saw the power of you mentoring and teaching other people what you know. And that's what brought me into business. I
Yeah.
loved it. I never had a desire really at that point to separate from the company and to do my own thing. Definitely over the years, that may be changing, but I love that I got to have a little bit of
Yeah.
both.
I love that. I love that because that's kind of is similar to my story as well. I was laid off from my job and then I did end up starting doing an in-home wine tasting. It was a network marketing company. Just kind of like that whole idea of we could start something on the side. We don't have to change careers. We could just start another thing that's like you said, a backup plan, just a little extra insurance and extra money, which is amazing, awesome. And I think people for sure have success in network marketing, nothing against that, but I do feel like you own your own destiny if you have your own total thing, that you have created and built up and your own brand, which you
Mhm.
definitely have. What a fun story. I didn't know that about you. That is cool. And I'm glad your husband finally made it over to join you.
Well, he didn't. That's the
Oh,
funny thing. Well, he made it to join us in Texas, but now he's primarily overseas, maybe
Oh,
about 85 to 90% of the year. It was supposed to be a 2-year thing.
uh-huh.
And mind you, when we got married, he was a Marine. He says he's
Yeah.
always a Marine. He's a vet
Mhm. Yeah.
now.
Yeah, yeah.
And at the time, we lived apart. He was in Japan, Okinawa,
Oh,
Japan, 2 weeks after we got married for a
oh my
year.
goodness. Oh,
I wish
yeah.
that we could be well, because of just the path that we've taken with both of our careers, he's mostly overseas in Asia even now.
That's right. I have seen you posting about that he's coming home, and I was, yeah, just putting that. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Well, that's another good reason to have a side hustle to do a little extra project that keep you
Yeah.
busy. So I want to get a little bit into your kind of being older when you did start this. You've been doing this a while or doing something like this for a while, but how have your views on aging changed over the years? And how has being older and starting this contributed to your success in what you're doing?
That's a really excellent question and something I haven't been asked before, but I think it's important. I did not when I first started doing more video and getting into this space, I felt like I needed to fit in, and
Mm.
I'm gonna do air quotes, fit in. I felt like I needed to be the face that was every face I saw on visual media, primarily YouTube, Instagram, some of the other spaces. There were a lot of young faces. And so at first, I did not feel comfortable talking about the fact that, hey, I'm over 50. I didn't tell people. I didn't say anything about that.
Yeah.
But what I was finding is that because of the maturity of my audience and because of the stories that I would tell and the experiences that I would share, I was attracting people who had similar stories and they really understood, like they got what I was talking about. I
Mhm.
said, I needed to buy a fan. I have a little bitty fan right here that I keep it on tap because these lights get bright. And when it starts sweating,
I know.
and the hot flashes come.
I
So
know.
I think I started attracting an audience of women in particular, and a lot of women of color and other women who feel underrepresented when it comes to social media spaces. I
Mm,
felt like it became a duty and a
yeah,
responsibility for me to create a safe space for them. And
right.
as we created the membership, I only created the membership that I have because the women were like, they kept coming back to the video, to the live stream, and they were asking, "Where are we gonna have our space? Like, where can we play?
Yeah,
Where can
yeah,
we where
yeah,
can we talk about sensitive things that maybe
right.
you can't say on the live stream?" And that became Stream Bosses Academy, and it
Mhm,
became a safe space for women who felt because of their age, because of their race, because of their weight, whatever the challenges were
mhm,
that weren't really popular society when it comes to social, we've been able to create this connection in this community where we can talk about, hey, here's why you should feel empowered to get on camera because when you show up, other women feel that they have power to show up too.
right.
So the age thing became something that was an empowering thought versus me feeling like I can't tell people because if I say anything, like right now, I can carry it and play it off like I'm still really young. But the topics I talk about and the way in which I speak
Mhm,
about things, it's a different perspective because I've got that tenure behind me. So I feel like that has given me much more of a unique perspective and a different way of speaking on camera that just like when you started the show, I was drawn to this late starters club because I was like, wow, that's me. Like that's
I
people
know,
like me.
that's me too. I think that it's so important for us to shine a light on women, older people, people who feel different because we all are different and we all need to be represented out there. And by showing up, like you said, we're giving each other permission to also show up and shine our lights. So I love that. I love that you are doing that, and especially doing that for people who are scared to get on video. And I was just thinking about this. Why is it like everyone's like, "Oh, look at her skin." I'm like, "Oh, look at her wisdom," you know?
I know, right?
That is sexy.
I know. Yes. Look
So,
at
yeah.
how much she's been through. Look at her
I know,
experiences. Like,
right? We're not valuing that in the same way as we value youth, and I think it's really unfortunate because I feel like I'm just getting good here finally. We come to this time and we're more comfortable in our skin and all that stuff. We've put so much behind us and we judge ourselves. Oh, don't get me wrong, I still judge myself quite a bit, but I'm
me too. Me too. That hasn't gone away, but
No, yeah,
I do feel like
we
you
know how to
start to own your like, "This is who I am,"
right,
right? And not in
right,
a bad way where you're saying, "This is who I am and I'm not changing,"
right.
because we're still continuous learners. I'm a
Yep,
lifelong learner, and I know you
yeah,
are too,
yeah,
but it gives us this ability to be able to stand more firmly in our skin and more
yeah.
confidently, so getting on camera is just an extension of that to me,
For
you know?
sure. But I also like to share your favorite quote or inspirational saying you have for our listeners, what keeps you going and gets you excited.
It's the mantra that I told myself when I first started doing video. And it was the reason behind it. It's what keeps me propelled. It's what happens or what I say to myself when I see trolls and people that are trying to keep me and prevent me from doing what I know I'm supposed to do. The statement that I tell myself, and now get to speak this life into other women, is when you do the things that others won't, you get the opportunities that others don't. So I knew that doing video was going to be something a lot of people won't do. And I knew that it would open up, or I suspected that it would open up doors that I had not had yet been privy to be able to open. And it did just that. So I feel like we have opportunities, especially as we get older, to open more doors, to adapt, right? To be able to be open to the experiences that can come, even when other people are saying, no, I'm not going to do that. We have the chance now to make a decision about being more brave, experience the gifts and the rewards that come from that bravery.
I love that.
Yeah.
That is great. That is awesome. I love that. I don't think I've ever quite heard it put that way, but I love it. So, well, Tanya, this has been so amazing. I just want to let people know where they can get in touch with you, what you've got coming up. You've got a live stream. Is it a go
Let's go
live?
live challenge.
Where
Yeah.
can people get plugged in with you? We've got Get Noticed with video.com, but is that where they find it?
Yeah, the getnoticedwithvideo.com is my primary website. We're starting to build in more of our brand from Stream Like a Boss TV, which is the weekly live stream that we do. But the challenge, which they will find at Get Noticed with Video, is letsgolivechallenge.com is a more direct way to get there. And
Mhm.
what I'm doing in this challenge is creating a safe space for people who are saying, I kind of want to try out live stream video. I'm not sure, but I want to try it and see if it can work for me. I do this challenge typically once a month. We may go to bi monthly, but I try to keep it very intimate and small so that I have just 10 people max because we're doing this in a video immersion style. I don't know if you remember the days, you may not have had the same type of teacher, but I had a Spanish teacher that said, when you walk in the room, we
Yeah.
speak Spanish. And
Yeah.
that's how we learn so quickly. And that's the
Mhm.
same with this video immersion program. So let's go live challenge. The minute you walk into our space, we use the Volley app. We're all using video from our
Nice.
phones and keeping it's still safe, but I'm
Yep.
teaching structure and step-by-step process to going live. Yeah.
Awesome. And, for anyone listening, just make sure you go and follow Tanya wherever she is. On, she is one of the most uplifting, Whenever I see a post from her, I'm always stopping to read it because she has got some unique insight, something that makes you think, and something that makes you feel better. So go and follow her. And thank you so much for being with us here today, Tanya. It's been amazing. You're great.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Hope that was helpful, and make sure you grab the free guide, Top Tools for Late Starters, on the website at latestartersclub.com. And let's turn dreaming into doing.